už taip gausiai susirinkusią auditoriją ir aš tikiuosi, mes nenuvilsime jūsų. Aš nedominuosiu diskusijos, ne mano tai yra valanda, tai yra mano kolegos Verhofstadto kūrinio pristatymas. Palyginus šviežia knyga, apskritai jinai pasirodė prieš keletą metų pasaulyje. Ir todėl man yra labai malonu, kad mūsų bendradarbiavimas su Tyto alba buvo toksai efektyvus. Mes sugebėjome greitai išversti į lietuvių kalbą, nes visada yra malonu skaityti knygą savo gimtąją kalbą. Ir aš tikiuosi, kad ši knyga ir ši mūsų diskusija pasitarnaus kaip labai geras tiltas į apskritai diskusiją apie ES ateitį. O ar turi ES ateitį? Mes turėtume matyti paklausti autoriaus Verhofstadto, kuris rašė šitą knygą kritikuodamas dabartinę ES, jos sandarą, jos politiką. Jūs rasite šitoje knygoje daug karčių žodžių išsakytų ES politikams ir vykdomai politikai, tačiau tai nėra ES pasmerkimas. Tai iš tikrųjų paieška geresnio būdo, kaip ES gali vykdyti savo misiją, o mes tikime tą misiją kartu, kadangi nėra alternatyvos jai Europoje, kaip geriau koncentruotis, į ką koncentruotis ir kaip tai įgyvendinti. Taigi galbūt aš ir norėčiau duoti žodį mano kolegai, sakydamas taip, ar tu tiki, kad 21 amžiuje Europoje gali atsirasti ir politikų pakankamai, ir valios, kad 50-ųjų metų Europos projektas, arba, sakykime taip, Europos tėvų žygis gali būti pratęstas 21 amžiuje. Ko reikia, kad taip atsitiktų ir kada tai turėtų įvykti, jeigu tai yra įmanoma?
And how many minutes I have to...
All in all, we have 45 minutes. 45 minutes.
No, because so first of all, thank you very much for inviting me. Thank you very much for the editor to print it, because otherwise there is no book if you don't find an editor. And I think it's quite a good moment. The 100-year rebirth of the Lithuanian state as a country is a good moment to publish a book, I think, about Europe. And very short, to give you appetite to buy it, because that's also one of the things to do. The book is in fact a very Eurosceptic book. A very Eurosceptic book in the sense that I believe that the European Union as it stands and works today will never survive 100 years. Never. If it is not reformed deeply, if it is not reformed in a way that it can work. And what I'm saying in the book is that we need to go back to the initial ideas of the founding fathers of the European Union to rescue Europe, to make it work. And why it cannot work? Well, mainly because it's still it's in fact no union. Everybody is talking about the European Union, but it is no union. It is in fact still a confederation of nation states based on the unanimity rule, or mainly on the unanimity rule. And a system, an international organization based on unanimity rule acts always too little too late. And that is in fact the summary of the book, saying we are acting always too little too late. And why? Because instead of taking decisions, taking action, as other powers in the world can do that, we have always, first of all, to find an agreement between 28 and tomorrow between 27. And if we don't find that agreement, we can do nothing at all. And a good example of this that I always give is the way the Americans reacted to the financial crisis, and we Europeans reacted to the financial crisis. They reacted in 9 months with a very clear policy, and it was the end of Bush and the beginning from Obama at that time. So there were two different administrations, Republican and Democrat. They launched a program to clean up the banks, $400 billion. They launched an investment program for $900 billion in these first 9 months of the crisis, and they asked their Federal Reserve Board to also help the economy that calls in economic terms quantitative easing for an amount of 1.2 trillion. That they did, and in 9 months, and in the years after that, they overcame this financial crisis in a very short period. While we in Europe, still 9 years after, so not 9 months, 9 years after the start of the financial crisis, we are still struggling with the fallout of that financial crisis. All the banks are not cleaned up, and you see that from time to time there is a bank in Europe who have still problems because was not cleaned up just in the aftermath of the financial crisis, and so on and so on. The investment program in Europe, that's only 1/3 of the American investment program. Quantitative easing of the European Central Bank came in very late. So, and what I try to explain in the book is, it is because of a bad political system based on unanimity that Europe cannot really overcome its problems and play its role on the world level. Other example, why it is, for example, that all big internet companies are all American or Asian. All. Amazon, Google, Microsoft, Alibaba, Chinese, you name it. There is no one European. And why that the Skype, which is not one of the top 20, sorry. I take the top 20 and it is not. Unfortunately, it's one of the only examples of that. I give you another example. Spotify is not one of the big ones, but it's not an American company. It was a Swedish company who went to America. Why? Because there are, if there is here a young guy in the room and he has a fantastic new invention, application on internet, and he wants to launch that, it's not possible in Europe. He needs 28 authorizations in Europe. And then on top of that, he needs to make 120 deals with the mobile operators before he can launch his new application on internet. In America, 1 authorization. In China, 1 authorization. A deal with 3 mobile operators, and you go for it. And that's the reason why many inventions in Europe go first to America, or rolled out there, and then they come back to Europe. That's a second example. And my third example, and then because otherwise I tell everything what is in the book and there is no reason to buy it anymore, so that's not a good publicity exercise. I think the third what I'm explaining, could you imagine one moment that, for example, another world power, the US should be governed like Europe? Could you imagine? Try to imagine that a few moments. How should it work then in practice? First of all, you should have not 1 president, but 3 presidents. You can imagine not 1 Obama, but 3 Obamas, of worse, not 1 Trump, but 3 Trumps. So that is what should happen.
Even once maybe.
Secondly, you should have a system in which it are then the 50 governors of the US who are deciding on all the policies of the US. And there is one, the governor of Alaska, who is against, nothing is happening. That's Europe. When there is a problem, for example, with a rescue program for a country, and there is a small party in Finland, for example, the True Finns, who is against this policy, everything is blocked for years. And what should happen also, and that's the third, countries, states in America should have the possibility to have an exception, to say, I don't participate in these and these policies. And that's in Europe the case. I compare it always that, for example, California should say, well, look, the dollar, it's a fine currency. We like the dollar, but we're gonna not use it. We're gonna continue with the Spanish peseta, like we did it until the mid of the 19th century. Everybody should say in America they are crazy. Yeah? Or, for example, Texas was saying the Border and Coast Guard, look, Border and Coast Guard, nice organization, but we're gonna do it ourselves. It is not the American Border and Coast Guard who will do it. Or, for example, the FBI saying, Massachusetts saying, yeah, the FBI, nice organization, but we're gonna not participate. We're gonna do that ourselves. That's Europe. That's Europe. In Europe, you pick and choose your policies. It's like in a restaurant. You come in, the menu card, and you say, well, yeah, the euro, no. Schengen maybe. Just as I know first, yes, that thing. So there is no one European Union. In the Dutch version, what I have done is in annex putting maps about all the Europes that exist. Oh no, it's also here. Fantastic. It's a Dutch version that they have taken as the basis naturally.
Yes.
And it's also in. And I think in total there are 12 maps in it. The 12 different European Unions that exist. So what I'm saying is we need an overhaul of the European Union. We need to reform it. Because otherwise there will be not only a Brexit, but tomorrow maybe a Dexit and a Nexit, that's the Dutch, Nexit, or a Frexit, the French. And it will be the end of the European Union, and it will be the comeback of nationalism and the devastating effect of nationalism in Europe as we have seen it in the 20th century. And we have to avoid it. So it has to be reformed, this European Union. And it's not necessary to invent huge things. Our founding fathers had, in fact, everything already on paper. Had everything in place. And it is, I should say, an accident in the French National Assembly in 1954, that was the European Defense Union, that was a tragedy because the French didn't accept it, the French National Assembly. There was there a new Prime Minister, Pierre Mendès France. So the fact that we have now for once a French president, the new French president, Macron, who believes in Europe, should be a great opportunity to reform it as fast as possible. Because this Europe, if it is not reformed, will disappear. And it can only be successful against other world powers like China, like India, like the US, like the Russian Federation, like many other powers in the world, if it is united. And that doesn't mean, that is also in the book, a big centralized European Union. No, my proposal is to have a far smaller European Union in certain fields. For example, we don't need a European Commission of 28 people governing Europe. For the simple reason we have not enough competences to give them a portfolio to this 28. Why not having a smaller, real European government? We don't need so much regulation on our internal market. But on the other hand, we need European defense. Because there comes a day that the Americans are going to say, do it yourself, my dear friends, Europeans. We're going to not continue to pay for it anymore. And if the European Defense Union will be not in place, then we are in huge trouble with our neighbors. Certainly our neighbor in the east, not to forget. And so that is the reason why absolutely, that's what I tried to describe, the European Union today fails in a number of fields, and the reason is because it's not a union. And let's make it a union the fastest as possible, because the world of tomorrow, dear friends, the world of tomorrow is not a world only of nation states. It will be a world of empires. China is an empire. It's not a nation, it's a civilization. It's Han. India, for example, there are 2,000 nations living in India, 2,000 ethnicities. And at the same time, 20 different languages they are using there. 4 big religions. And it's the biggest democracy. It's one civilization also. And I should say the same of the Americans, because tomorrow it will be Spanish that they will speak more than English even in the United States of America. That's the trend for the coming years. So if we want to survive with this little part of this planet here, that is the continent, the European continent, it will be united. Or again, as in the past, if we are divided, will be the victims of others who will decide on our fate. And that I don't want. Thank you.
Mūsų pašnekovas yra Europos parlamento atstovas Brexit dėrybose. Verhofstadtas yra pastoviai ir su ponu Barnier, ir su kitais aptarinėja Brexito dėrybas. Ir aš norėčiau, Gy, tavęs paklausti, ką tu manai, kaip atrodys Europa, štai mums nedaug liko, aš nelaukiu tos dienos, bet 19 metų kovo pabaigoje baigėsi formalioji Britų narystė Europos Sąjungoje, tai toks yra grafikas, taip yra sutarta, tai kaip atrodys Europos Sąjungai, įsivaizduokime 19 metų balandžio mėnesį, nedaug liko laukti. Ar tai iš esmės Britanijos pasitraukimas gali kiek nors aktyvizuoti integracijos gilinimą Europos Sąjungoje ir kas galėtų tą paspartinti, nes jeigu pasitraukia ir Didžioji Britanija iš Europos Sąjungos, sutikime, bus tam tikras tuštumos laikotarpis. Kaip įsivaizduoji šitą politinį momentą?
Personally, I have to tell you that I find the Brexit naturally a failure of the European Union. When one big member state like the UK is breaking away, you cannot say, oh, fantastic, we do it very well. That's a sign that there is a problem. And the problem I have tried in my first intervention to explain what the problem is. That's the bad news. There is also good news about Brexit. The good news is that since Brexit, we have seen that in most public opinions in Europe, people become again more supportive of the European idea. And we have seen that in all the barometers and in all the opinion polls since Brexit. Because in the beginning everybody thought, and I said it myself a few minutes ago, there will be a domino effect. After Brexit there will be Nexit, Dexit, Frexit, and other countries will go out. And what we have seen is quite the opposite. That is that after Brexit, in many countries, people are still critical towards the European Union, but they are saying, oh, we are not so stupid to leave it, or to destroy it. So that doesn't mean that people accept the way it works today. That should be an enormous mistake by the politicians to say, oh, we see in the polls that Europe is a little bit more popular again, more than 50% in most of the member states. So it's not necessary to reform it. That should be an enormous mistake. But what people are saying is, okay, it gives us security, it gives us certainty, it can guarantee us the wealth of this continent. Let's not leave it, let's not destroy it. And there is what, it's also shown in the exemplary unity of the 27 for the moment in the negotiations. But if you tell me, will it happen, Brexit? It will happen. On the 29th of March, they will go out. And there will be a transition period starting. That transition period will be not so different of what exists today, besides the fact that there will be no longer representatives of Britain in the Parliament, in the Council, in the Commission, in the European Court of Justice, and so on and so on. But mainly, it will be the continuation of the existing policies and commitments. And then everything will depend on what is happening in Britain itself, because you follow it a little bit, I hope. You see an enormous change again in the mood in Britain. And it's, for example, not sure that whatever acts that the British government on Brexit is trying to approve in the Parliament, the British Parliament, there is a majority for it for the moment. So it could be that all this will be re-discussed in Britain itself at the moment of the next general election in Britain, and that will be around 2020. So, but in my opinion, and that is the main message that I want to give, let's not concentrate too much on Brexit. I have to do it because it's my job in the European Parliament. But we as Europeans have to prepare our own future. That we have to do. Where we, as I have indicated, reform the Union, make it stronger, do policies that are needed, less bureaucracy, but more policies, for example, border management, defense, cohesion of the Union. That is what we have to concentrate on, and I should say less on Brexit.
Lietuvos gyventojai yra visuomet pirmajam penketuke tarp ES šalių, kurie palankiausiai vertina narystę Europos Sąjungoje. Aš noriu kreiptis į profesorių Ramūną Vilpišauską. Tai, Ramūnai, koks paties būtų paaiškinimas? Vis dėlto, kokią ateitį rinktųsi lietuviai, matant mūsų ir nuomonės, ir patirtį Europos Sąjungai, ir Europos Sąjungos pačios tendencijas? Ką tu pats numatytum? Ar Lietuva pritartų, sakykime, integracijos gilinimui, ar eitų daugiau į tokį pasirinktą bendradarbiavimą ir daugiau bendradarbiavimą tarp nacionalinių valstybių? Koks apskritai ir galbūt dabartinės daugumos būtų pasirinkimas, jeigu tektų mums apsispręsti, nežinau, ar referendumu, ar kažkuo? Už ką vis dėlto balsuotų lietuviai?
Sveiki. Manau, kad labai sudėtinga pasakyti, nes daug kas priklauso nuo to, kas konkrečiai yra įdedama į tą savoką daugiau integracijos, kokiose srityse, jeigu kalbam apie gynybą, koks santykis tada su mūsų pagrindinė strateginė partnerė JAV, nes tikrai ilgai dar neprilygs ES gebėjimų, karinių gebėjimų, pajėgumų prasme Jungtinėm Amerikos valstijom ir situacijos žinojimo, ekspertizę mūsų regiono ir panašiai. Tai labai priklauso, apie ką mes kalbam, nes ir kaip knygoje rašoma pats terminas federalizmas, tas britam baisus žodis iš F raidės, angliškai kalbant, tai turi dviejopą prasmę. Jis irgi turi labai daug prasmių. Subsidiarumas yra esminis federalizmo principas. Tai mano nuomonė, jeigu mes taikytume subsidiarumą, tai pavyzdžiui, bendroji žemės ūkio politika neturėtų būti vykdoma ir finansuojama iš ES biudžeto. O sienų apsauga, aš sutinku su ponu Verhofstadtu, iš tiesų yra tas sritis, kur masto ekonomija gali būti pasiekta darant kažką kartu. Infrastruktūra, jungtis yra tas sritis, kur iš tiesų yra pridėtinė vertė finansuojant bendrai. Bet dabartiniame ES biudžete tokios sritis, kurios finansuojamos iš ES biudžeto ir kurios yra pagrindžiamos subsidiarumo ir pridėtinės vertės veikiant europiniam lygmenį principų, yra mažuma. Didžioji dalis lėšų skiriama, mano nuomonė, toms sritim, kurios dėl politinio sandorio tarp Prancūzijos, Vokietijos, dėl kitų priežasčių yra finansuojamos. Tai klausimas daugiau integracijos kur, kokioj srityje. Ar mažiau kur, nes kai kur, mano nuomonė, reikia mažiau. Irgi sutinku su kritika dėl įvairių reguliavimo skirtumų 28 vis dar ES šalyse. Taip, netgi bendroji rinka iki dabar neveikia pilnai, nėra sukurta. Ta mes labai gerai žinom ir iš komisijos ataskaitų ir kitų duomenų, patys verslininkai, kurie mėgina teikti paslaugas kitos ES šalyse, turi daug istorijų. Tai čia iš tiesų turim pabaigti tai, kas buvo pradėta prieš 60 metų, ar bent jau skirti tam didesnį dėmesį. Tai aš sutinku su didelė dalim kritikos, kur yra šioje knygoje, bet kalbant apie receptus, aš turiu daugiau abejonių. Ir čia naudojant tą analogiją, kuri knygoje naudojama su medicininė būklė, kad Europa sunkiai serga, mano klausimas, ar federalizmas kaip vaistas nepagydytų ją, bet ar nepribaigtų galutinai. Čia perdozavimo turint galvoj galimybę. Nes man atrodo, kad įvertinant žmonių nuotaikas yra labai didelė tikimybė, kad būtent stiprus postumis link federalizacijos kažkuriuose srityse, ignoruojant nuomonių skirtumus skirtingose šalyse, gali sunaikinti ir tai, kas yra pasiekta ir taip sunkiai, bet veikia. Mano nuomonė visgi ES mechanizmas veikia. Galima jį labai daug kritikuoti, bet jis leidžia derinti nuomonių skirtumus. Ir kodėl nėra padaryta daugiau, atsakymas, man atrodo, gana aiškus. Todėl, kad skirtingos šalis turi skirtingas pozicijas. Kodėl Europos komisija yra tokia didelė, kodėl tiek daug komisarų? Nes kiekviena šalis nori, kad ji turėtų komisarą. Tai žmonės masto vis dėlto savo šalių požiūrių. Ir tai yra faktas. Ignoruoti faktą reiškia imtis reformos, kuri ignoruoja realybę. Aš nesu tikras, ar tai yra geriausias politinio veikimo būdas. Bet grįžtant prie klausimo apie Lietuvos gyventojus, Aš pabaigsiu šitą ilgoką atsakymą dar pastebėjimu apie tai, kad referendumai kaip taisyklė baigėsi neigiamai, kada jie organizuojami ES klausimais. Ir priklauso, kas tuo metu yra vyriausybėje, koks jos populiarumas, kas yra darbotvarkiai, kokia ekonominė padėtis tuo metu šalyje. Tai referendumas, jeigu mes turėtume tokį dėl radikalaus naujo integracijos žingsnio, jis galėtų baigtis kažkaip vien ne dėl su juo susijusio klausimo palaikymo ar nepritarimo jam, o visai dėl kitokių priežasčių.
Ačiū. Pats knygoje kalbi apie tautų ir asmens tapatybės. Kaip paties manymų, ar vystosi kažkoks stipresnis europinis tapatumas? Ar atsiranda požymis ne vien tik tai, kad mes turime parašytą Lisabonos sutartyje apie ES pilietybę, ar šalia to atsiranda bendrumo jausmas, kuris gali galbūt politikus tikrai paskatinti tiems sprendimams, apie kuriuos kalbame ir knygoje, ir kuriuos mes girdime viešumoje, ir kaip pats bendrai vertini nacionalizmo arba to tokio primityvaus, aš sakyčiau, radikalumo, populizmo tendencijas dabartinėje Europoje, tame tarpe vidurio ir rytų Europoje.
Well, maybe I can tell you what I receive as letters for the moment from Britain, because they have decided to go out, but there is an enormous movement now coming up of people who are saying we don't want to lose our European citizenship. There is no contradiction between being a citizen of Manchester, supporter of United or of City, it depends who you like, at the same time being British, being English, and being European. There is no contradiction. Why there should be a contradiction? And why there should be a fight between, what is your identity? I don't like the word identity, first of all. I think the identity of people is an individual thing. And I think that identity is typical a word that is used by politicians to make categories inside the population and say, yeah, you all speak that language. You all belong to that collective entity. And even when inside, between us, there can be huge differences. I think that the identity of every citizen is unique. And that there is absolutely no contradiction by saying, oh, I'm living in Vilnius, I'm Lithuanian, and I feel European. There is no contradiction. The first thing what in the 17th and 18th century every big poet or writer or thinker did was to do a trip in, and it took then several months, not like today several days, is going to Europe, to visit Europe. Europe exists and is a European identity, community of values and of culture, of architecture, of in writing and in culture in general. Well, that is something that is absolutely not in contradiction. So, and I think personally, if I may in a few moments react to what the professor has said, that is that federalism is exactly the guarantee to keep this diversity in unity. Because the worst thing what can happen is that we make from Europe a centralist state, like for example the French have, where everything is decided in Paris. And then what they have decided in one ministry in Paris, whoop, is then send it out to what are, I'm always saying, what are the most powerful states worldwide? And we're doing it well. America, Canada, 2 federal states. In Europe, Germany, everybody's talking about the good results of Germany. It's a federal state. Federalism doesn't mean that you organize everything on the central level, on the bureaucratic central level in Brussels. It's the opposite of it. It's like you're saying, you have used the right word, subsidiarity. It means that you do the things at the right level. What can you do best on the local level, you do on the local level. What you can do best on the national level, you do it on the national level. And where you have an added value on the European level, you do it on the European level.